All right. Hi, everyone. Let's start with discussing the steps from last time. There's the verified product foundation document. Moving forward with that, as far as I know. Do you have anything to state for that, Valerie? Is there anything new that you want to have discussed? Otherwise, we'll leave it to AC.
No. I think we're doing good on that.
Yeah, I think there was one thing I'd like to add. I still need to get to the color audit that is up my list for to do. So it keeps getting postponed, but I'm trying to get to it this week for sure. So there's a little update about that. And then lastly, this was mostly a question towards Brendan on, hey, we see that this issue that Mike, who I just discussed this with Mike a little earlier today, that issue he was working ahead for 12.0, but now we see that it got postponed to 12.2, so it get postponed by 2 releases. Hey, if it's needed, that's what is needed. But at the same time, we were working on this to get ahead of ourselves for 12.0, and now that effort is being negated. So
Yeah, I think,
does it fit the 80-20 rule? Yes or no?
yeah, I think that we talked about this at some point last week where this one was at risk. So he had the suspicion that it would likely be pushed out. I don't know if he knew exactly how long it would be pushed out. But I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay with it on this one just because it's the first one that Mike's working on, and it sounds like he had a really good plan of, this is what we can do immediately, but then we can also begin working on what we intend to do for the longer term.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's okay for us to be this far ahead on that particular issue.
All right. Yeah. And I also read the argumentation on the issue, which was like, hey, we need some other issues before that. So that's all right. All right. Then I have nothing further to discuss. I think it's just the way it is. I know that Mike has been assigned more towards release for the coming period. I think that is fine. I also discussed this with Mike already. I heard it from Ayana. So that will be good, and I'll see to myself to see if, hey, can I work to ahead of ourselves for 12.0 in terms of verify starting this week, basically. So there will only be a little bit of work that we can work ahead of the 12.0 release. So hey, we're in the same position as last release, basically.
Yeah, and maybe this gives you a little bit of time to do that color audit.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, like in terms of working ahead, there's just too much to do for now. We'll see if we can get there next release to some extent. But it takes effort. I need to see if I can, fit that in. Until we do, we'll keep having the same problem of, not being ahead of ourselves and eating up time from development and making the scope smaller of what we can implement.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that we wanted to work on this upcoming quarter anyway, is to, once we get that foundations document complete, the next step is for us to do the experience baseline and recommendations. So start thinking about what are 3 jobs to be done that we can focus on. You're likely to come up with way more than 3, but if you could focus in on 3, and then we can make a decision of which one to try out first. And the idea would be, Dimitri, you take one of them, and Mike, you take one of them, and Hayana will take another. And then that way we have 3 across CI/CD. And then that'll start getting the conversation more of, let's think ahead and what are our current challenges within the product. So these are stepping stones to being more strategic.
Sounds good. I saw on Secure that for the document, because I already created the document, talked about this in the Verify weekly meeting last week for getting us ahead of ourselves with the foundations effort. That there were answers from product managers in there already. I asked for this in the Verify meeting, like, hey, anybody's free to offer their feedback on the questions in there. as there is no feedback at all given by anyone, I think it's needed that I'll set up a dedicated meeting with especially Brandon and some of the lead engineers in order to get some answers out of that, because otherwise, if we leave it up to the people themselves, it's probably not going to get a lot of activity going for it. So with the summit coming up, or contribute as we should call it, what is your idea of getting that done? Do you rather have that be done after the summit, or do you think like, hey, it's best if we fit that in before? Because I think we'll be really close on time for that.
Yeah, I think we should try to get it done before contribute. And I say that because when people get back from contribute, there's going to be so much work for them to get caught up on. And I think it'll be really hard to squeeze it in.
All right, then I'll set up a meeting later this week to see if I can get that resolved.
Okay, yeah. And even if it's just 80%, right? If we can get it 80% complete, that's good for me. The 20% is likely what we would end up, we just don't know the answers to these things, and those could potentially be good research questions, something that we need to go out and get those answers ourselves.
Yeah. All right, I'll get on to that, and there's nothing more for me for this meeting. Anyone else has any points? All right, then I'll give you back, 10 minutes, 20 minutes of your time today, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.